Now, as part of your resume, you mentioned that in paragraph 2.1.7 of your 212 statement, that you also did some training on microphotography. What is that?
That's the photography. You have an exhibit and a test, or exhibits to compare.
Yes.
That's the way to take a photograph to give illustration to the court what you see on the microscope.
Shuthi ke khona lana ke kuyi profile yami ngishilo lapha ukuthi ne microphotography ngiyenzile ngiyengaqeqeshwa khona lapho ke kanti ke lokho kusho ukuthi nje uthatha ingxenye zobufakazi uyayichathanisa ngaphansi kwe microscope ubese ke uthatha ithombe lokho kubonayo ngaphansi kwe microscope yilokho uzothatha isithombe sakho ubese ke uzokulungiselela ke kube ingxenye yobufakazi la enkantolo ezolekelela inkantolo.
Okay, thank you, sir. That's just what I wanted to understand with the microphotographic process. Now you're saying again that on page 3 of your 212 statement,
Yes, sir.
that the exhibits that were handed in 3.2 and 3.3, you did not mark them.
Yeah, my lord, many times when you send in some cartridges and there's no actually asking to examine the emanation, you just do it by visually examine the emanation. If you have asked to examine it completely, then you will take the whole cartridge apart so that the bullet is one side, the propellant, and the prime cartridge case is one side.
Shuthi uma ucela ukuthi uvivinyo ke okanye uwenze ke ivivinyo kwingxenye zobufakazi kakhulukazi sibheke ku 3.2 no 3.3 sivele sithathe sibheke ngokubheka nje kuphela ngaphandle ukuthi sivuleke sihlephule senze ingxenye kanti ke uma becelile ke ukuthi yenzani ke isivivinyo esiphelele kulapho ke sizohlephula inhlamvu yonke sikhipha icartridge sibheke nala kuhlala khona ipowder nenhlamvu le engena emzimbeni lokho ke siyakwazi ukuthi sikwenze ingalokho ke ngibhalela na ukuthi not marked.
So in other words, you do your investigations according to the request that you receive.
Yeah.
Ngamanye amazwi yebo mina ngenza ke uphenyo lwami ukuya ke ngalokho engicelwe khona ukuthi mangikwenze.
Thank you, sir. Further on in paragraph number 6, you say that you fired an ammunition used for test purposes and you marked them 3690C1, 3690C2.
Sorry, is it recorded? There was an allegation that there's no signal that your machine is recording. But you say it is recording. Hello? Oh, I see. Okay, fine.
As it is a court, my lord. And then you also 3690B1 and 3690B2. These tests were fired in the pistol mentioned in 3.1.
That's correct, my lord.
Kanti ke lezi vivinyo ke ezenziwe khona laphana uma sibheka ku paragraph or sub paragraph 6.2 inhlamvu zasetshenziswa ke injongo iyakhona ke bekungukuthi kwenze ivivinyo emva kwalokho zase ke ziyamakho kanye zaphawulwa ke kuthiwa enye ethi 3690C1 kanti okunye kwathiwa i369TC2 lokho kwenzwa phezulu kwama cartridge case okunye kwathiwa ke i369TB1 okunye 369TB2 lokho kwenziwa ke ivivinyo zenziwa phezulu kwenhlamvu kwasetshenziswa ke isibhamu esivelela khona lapha yana ke kwi subparagraph 3.1.
Now, these test exhibits, if I were to call them that way, were these cartridges, were they your own cartridges or were the cartridges that you found in that green box?
No, my lord. We are issued with ammunition.
Yes.
On a you have your own stack of ammunition that you use for test purposes. It's just exceptional calibers that you don't. That's not usually used. Then you can go and book it out at the ammo safe at the second floor. But usually this is ammo that's been allocated to you to use for test purposes.
Okay.
Lezi inhlamvu ezikhishwayo esinikezwa zona ukuthi zizo sebenza ke ukwenza ivivinyo lezo. Hayi kangako ke ukuthi inhlamvu ezashetshenziswa ngenkathi ke kutholakala lesi sibhamu okukhulunywa ngaso. Kanti ngale ku second floor bayakwazi ke ukuthi basinikeze lezo inhlamvu esizoyisebenzisa mayelana ke nevivinyo. Kukhona ke amakaliber athize esinganikezwa wona kufanele ukuthi uze uye khona lapho uyobhuka lawo makaliber ukuze ukwazi ukunikezwa inhlamvu lezo.
So answer the question, no, I did not use any of this cartridges that I received.
Ukuphendula lo mbuzo ke futhi ukuthi azange ngisebenzise ezinye zeinhlamvu engayithola.
Now, did I hear you correctly when you say, for the purposes of the testing, you used full military jacket, the FMJ?
That's correct. That's a military ammunition made by PMP, and I fired 2 shots with that ammunition.
Shuke ngasebenzisa ke zona lezo inhlamvu eqhamuka khona ke okanye zakhe kuzwa yiyo PNP kanti ngadubula ka2 ngazo lezo inhlamvu.
And did I further hear you correctly when you say there's also a complete military jacket, but the full military jacket, it's a more stronger version than the complete military jacket.
Yeah,
than the complete military jacket.
That's correct, my lord.
A complete military jacket yona ke iqine kakhulu ukundlula lena full military jacket.
Let's repeat that. Of the 2 types of ammunition that you used, the full military jacket and the complete military jacket, which one is stronger than the other?
The FMJ, the full metal jacket, will be harder than the CMJ, complete metal jacket. It's that softer copper that's used for the jacket.
Thank you.
Around the bullet core.
FMJ kahle kahle yona ke eqine kakhulu ukundlela CMJ.
Thank you. Would there be a particular reason why you opted to use this full military jacket instead of the complete military jacket when you had to investigate?
No, my lord, it's only because that's the ammunition that we've been issued to do the test with. That's the only reason that I shot FMJs, 9mm parabellums, in the firearm that was tested.
Asikho esinye isizathu ngaphandle kokuthi izona inhlamvu abasinikeza zona lezo ama FMJs ukuthi senze ivivinyo ngazo. Hayi kangako ukuthi ngiyayikhethela ukuthi ngifuna ziphi inhlamvu kwenza ivivinyo ngazo.
Now, after you had fired these test exhibits, do you then take time to look at them and satisfy yourself that in an event that a scene exhibit were to come, you would be able to compare that exhibit from the scene and these test exhibits?
No, my lord. If it's only a firearm, after I fire that test, I will seal it in that seal bag and seal it in my docket. When there's another exhibits coming in to investigate, I will open it and have a look at it then, and I will compare the exhibits, and then I'll compare the exhibits with the test fired. So it'd be the cartridge case or the bullet.
Kanti ke engikwenzayo uma ngabe mhlambe isibhamu sodwa esilethwa kimina ngiyasithatha ngisifaka phakathi kwe evidence bag. Uma ngabe khona ezinye ingxenye zobufakazi ezizayo emva kwesikhathi ngizokwazi ukuthi ngivule le evidence bag leyo bese ke ngiyaqhathanisa ke nalezo ngxenye lezo zobufakazi ezilethwayo ubona ukuthi ke ngendlela ke esidubula ngakhona ke ngiyahambelana.
Let me put my question in the following way. Is it not so that when you fire these test exhibits, you want to find out if the individual or class characteristics that are in the firearm are transferred into this either the bullets or the test bullet or the test cartridge? Is not so?
My lord, there's no use in comparing the fire to test cartridge case or the fire test bullets to each other. I know it's from the same firearm.
Yes.
And they would be marking, so it's no use for me to have a look at them when only the firearm is received.
Asikho ke isizathu sokuthi ngaphinde futhi ngenze ivivinyo ukuzama ukubona ukuthi lesi sibhamu siyakwazi ukuthi singinikeze impawu zaso leso sibhamu kakhulukazi ke individual okanye i-class characteristics kuyo okanye kuzo lezi inhlamvu engiyisebenzisayo ama cartridges uma ngabe ke isibhamu kuyisona engisitholayo njengengxenye yobufakazi.
Let's understand each other, say, on this one. I am saying to you, the reason why you are firing these test bullets, it is because you want those characteristics that are on the firearm that you would have received as an exhibit, either the individual characteristics or the class characteristics of the firearm, to be transferred into the bullets that you are firing as test bullets, not so?
Yeah, that will be carried over from the firearm to the cartridge, cartridge case or the bullet.
Yes.
Uthi yebo ngiyakuzwa. Uma ngenza lezi vivinyo ke ngidubula lesi sibhamu ngisebenzisa lezi inhlamvu enginikezwe zona ukuzama ukuthola ama individual characteristics or ama class characteristics phezu kwalezi inhlamvu ezidutshuliwe ukubonisa ke ukuthi lesi sibhamu sikwazile ukususa ke impawu zaso zafike zafaka ke lezo impawu zaso kulezi inhlamvu ezidutshuliwe uma kwenza lezo ivivinyo.
Now back to my initial questions. After you have done this firing, do you then look at these test bullets or the test cartridges to find out if what you intend to do with them later on?
My lord, I believe I already answered that question, but
yes.
No, I didn't have a look at them. I just file it in the back and seal it.
Because
Okay,
there's
no,
no comparative ammunition.
That's correct.
And
my
you
lord.
don't have a docket which you are investigating at that stage. Actually here, as I read it, is to find out if this firearm is in good working order and whether it's centrally ejecting the bullets.
Yeah, and if and to keep that exhibit, that test bullets and
IBS,
and the cartridge cases for future
That's it.
comparison to exhibits or other cases.
Yes.
Ngakusho lokho ke ukuthi lezi ibhamu okanye ukudubula kwami lezi inhlamvu kusetshenziswa ke lengxenye yobufakazi okuyisibhamu ukwenzela ke ukuthi mhlambe kusasa uma khona ingxenye ezithize zobufakazi ezilethwa khona laphana ke thina sikwazi ke ukuthi ngaleso sikhathi kube ziyaqhathaniswa kodwa ngaleso sikhathi mina angiphenyi kangaka ngoba nedokete alikho la kimi ukuthi ngathi ke ngiyaqhathanisa ke ukuthi uma ngidubula lezi inhlamvu ngifuna ukubona ke ukuthi yizo lezi inhlamvu ezifana nezinhlamvu ezasetshenziswa kuphi kuphi hayi ngaleso sikhathi mina ngivele nje ngenze umsebenzi wami ukwenzela ukuthi kusasa kwazi kwani umuntu ozosebenza ngalezo ingxenye zobufakazi akwazi ukuqhathanisa ke nezingxenye ezintsha zobufakazi ezilethwa khona lapha yana.
Thank you, sir. Now you testified that at some later stages, on a number of occasions, you were requested to make some comparison from the exhibits that are in question here. That's now the ammunition that is mentioned in 6.2 with a particular firearm.
Yeah, this firearms tests that I used in 2 cases that I compared it once to 1 case, and the other time to, I think it was 5 other cases that I, case numbers that I also compared it to.
Kusho ukuthi ke ku 6.2 lapho ke kukhona ukukhathaniswa okukhona ngokuthi kwenziwe lezi ivivinyo la ukuye kwadutshulwa khona ke ngamacala amabili namanye futhi amacala awu5 esinawo lapho ke ngisho ukuthi kwenziwa ke ivivinyo zokukhathanisa.
Amongst others, you mention an Alexander case, not so?
That's correct, my lord.
Kwamanye ama case ngikhulumile ngecase yase Alexander.
Now, without to get into the merits of the Alexander case, if I follow your evidence, is that you will say if that is not what happened, is that in that Alexander case, there's an exhibit that you received that was allegedly picked up to the scene that you had to compare with those exhibits that are mentioned in 6.2.
That's correct, my lord.
Yebo yabona kula macala kule cala lese Alexander njengomzekelo kukhona ingxenye ke zobufakazi ezadotshwa khona lapha yana ukuthi zizochathaniswa ke nezingxenye zobufakazi eziqhamuka lana kule subparagraph 6.2.
Again, without to getting deep into the merits of the case, what were the results?
My lord, I made, if I'm correct, yeah, I made the cartridge cases.
Yes.
I received some cartridge cases in the Alexandra case as well.
Yes.
5 cartridge cases.
Yes.
And I made my tests.
Kule case yase Alexander ngathola ama cartridge case awu5.
Yes.
Kanti ke ngawachathanisa ke la.
I made a few cartridge cases positive to that firearms test fire cartridge case.
Case. How many cartridges?
A few. I didn't.
Ama cartridge ambalwa ke kwaba ubona ke ama cartridge afaniswa ke ngqo ushuthi afanana shuthi kwaba positive uma kwenziwa ivivinyo lezo.
Thank you, sir. So, you were able to compare those Alexandra scene cartridges and these cartridges that are mentioned in 6.2, which you fired as test bullets and cartridges, and you find that some of those exhibits match each other.
Yeah, it was fired from the same firearm.
Yes.
The same firearm.
Ilokho engikushoyo ke ukuthi ngaqhathanisa ke ingcenzo zofakazi engayithola lapha yana esigamekweni sase Alexander nezingcenye zofakazi eziqhamuka lana ke ku 6.2 subparagraph 6.2 kwaba ke nokufanana okuthizo ngamanye amazwi kwaba kwabonisa ke ukuthi leso sibhamu esasetshenziswa kuleyo ndawo yesigameko eAlexander yisona ke lesi sibhamu esisebenze la ukuya ke ngokuqukethwe i6.2.
Again, without mentioning the merits of the case, are there any, because in your evidence you also mentioned a number of instances where you had to do the same comparison on this lab case number 34369 of 2015. Are there any other positive results in terms of your investigation that you were able to link with other things?
No, that's the only.
Okay.
Iyona phela ke awekho amanye ama case ake athathaniswa kakhulukazi sibhekelele icala ke le 34359 2015 awekho ke amanye.
That's the only that I'm aware of.
Yes.
Iyona yodwa ke leyo case engiyicaphelayo ukuthi kunokufana nokuthiza.
Now back to that Alexander case in comparison with these exhibits in 6.2. Did you have to fire? Did you have to fire extra ammunition?
No.
Kuleyo case yase Alexander azange kube nesidingo sokuthi ngiphinde ngidubule ezinye inhlamvu uma ngichathanisa ke ne 6.2 le sibhizi ngayo manje.
Thank you, sir. Now, I'm going to repeat what my colleague said, Mr. Ramusipili. I'm just a nobody here with regard to the ballistic expertise, you know. I'm just a nobody trying to find out what is happening there. Now, in the storage, my question might not be so intelligent, you see. But in the course of the storage of these test bullets and the test cartridges, do they sometimes lose shape? Do they wear off? Or what's the position?
No. It's sealed in that seal back and there it stays. The only one that opened this was me.
Yes.
And I think on a later stage, if you see that affidavit,
Yes.
it was Colonel Mangena that opened it.
Yes.
In this last bag that I told the court that I sealed it in, and that is that end of a 799.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Hayi kangako ukuthi uma sekuthathwa ingxenye zobufakazi ngoba zibekwe khona laphayana sengisho khona wona lama test bullets or cartridges ake alahlekelwe ke ukubumbeka kwawo lawo mabullet ngaphandle kokuthi ke sike sasebenza phezulu kwawo ke le ingxenye zobufakazi njengoba kuvelela khona laphayana kwi sealback number that ends with what sealback number le ephelela ngo 799 uma ngena nayo ke wasebenza kuyo.
Thank you, sir. Now, will I be correct? Do I understand you to mean, and you will say so if that's not what you are implying, that you did this test in 2015 on the 13th of February? That's now according to your...
Yeah, that's correct.
Yes.
Yeah, but we finish le vivinyo ngazenza nge 13th February 2015.
Now, assume for a minute, let's just create a hypothetical situation. You said these test bullets and cartridges were then filed with your CABS, the case administration of the ballistic section, not so?
You're referring to what paragraph now?
I'm referring to paragraph number 10.
Number 10, yeah.
Yeah.
10.2, I sealed it in that exhibit back, in that lab number.
Yes.
That's where it stayed. And I was opening it like I was doing the comparison to Alexandra,
Yes.
to that other few cases, and then we open it again for the court preparation.
Thank you.
Uthi yebo ke ku paragraph 10.2 nga vula ke leyo bheke ene seal number leyo njengoba iqhamuka okanye ivelela khona lapho kwi sub paragraph 10.2 ngase ke ngiyaqhathanisa ke nale case yase Alexandra namanye ke ambalwa ama case engingakhuluma ngawo phambilini.
Thank you. Would I then be correct to say that those marks that were transferred to the test bullets or the test cartridges from the barrel of the firearm that was in question here, they form a permanent feature of these test bullets and the test cartridges that you worked on?
That's correct, my lord.
Yebo kuyiqiniso lawo maphawu kanye lezo impawu sululeka phezwe o eyisuleleka phezwe kwama cartridge lawo okwenzwa ivivinyo ngawo okanye lezi inhlamvu okwenzwa ivivinyo ngazo lezo impawu zohlala lapho kulezo zinto ke wengxenye zobufakazi umphelele.
Thank you, sir. You know, the reason why I had to go to such a lengthy exercise because I just wanted to get the background of what is happening when you fire or when you do this testing. But in essence, this is where I was trying to come at. Mr. Mangena said, upon receipt of the firearm in question, he went to the administrative section that CABS, the case administration of the ballistic section of the of your institution. He went there and retrieved the exhibits that are mentioned in 6.2 and those that are mentioned in 10.2, I think that's the same thing, not so. 6.2 and 10.2
Yeah.
relates to the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. You went there, found those exhibits with a view to compare them with the exhibit that was found at the phosphorus scene. Do you follow?
What scene is that? Is that now where the deceased was
Yes,
shot?
yes,
Yeah.
yes, I'm sorry. When we will say phosphorus, we're talking about the scene where the
Okay,
deceased,
no,
in this
I'm
case,
with you
in
now,
this
I'm with you
case,
now, I'm with
yeah.
you
Now he says, on his determination or on his quest to try and find out if there's a similarity between the exhibit that was found at the phosphorus scene and the cartridges, the test and the bullet cartridges that you fired from this firearm. He found that the markings that were transferred through the firing process to the test bullets and the test cartridges were not of such a good quality that it could be enabled to make such a determination.
That's not correct. That's not his evidence.
Yeah, that's how, yeah.
As it please the court, my lord, let me rephrase my question. He said,
No, but the way you're phrasing it, Mangena never said that.
that's the reason why there was an objection from the state, my lord, and I understand quite correctly that there could in any event be an objection, which is the reason why I'm saying, let me rather rephrase my question. And I'm going to rephrase my question by specifically referring to what he says in his report. Thank you. Just a minute. As it please the court, my lord. Now he says, that is Mangena's report, Exhibit 13, X-ray 13, Charlie. That's the name of the exhibit. Now he says in paragraph 6.1, okay, let us say, he starts in paragraph 6.6, where he says, I examined the fired bullets mentioned in 3.1 and 4.2 and compared the individual and class characteristics marking transferred to them by firearm components during the firing process using a comparison microscope and found 6.1. There is sufficient class characteristics but insufficient individual characteristics marking transferred to these bullets by firearm components during the firing process, which could be due to the difference in bullet material. As a result, I took a decision to obtain additional tests of the same material as the exhibit bullet.
Usho njalo ke le statement sakhe uMangena and ngizosifunda ke uthi ngahlolisisa okanye ngenza ivivinyo kuyinhlamvu ezizadubuleka kakhulukazi ke njengoba zivelela lapha na kuyisaf paragraph 3.1 no 4.2 ngase ke ngiyaqhathanisa ke ama individual and class characteristics ushuthi ke impawu zakhona ezike zasuleleka uma kwenzwa lezo ivivinyo zokudubula lesi sibhamu kanti ke inqubo kwakuyiyona ke ukwenza ivivinyo ngaphansi kwe microscope ngase ngithola ukuthi kukhona ke impawu okanye khona ukubonakalayo ke uma sibheke lapha yana kwi class characteristics kanti ke uma siza kwi individual characteristics ama marking wakhona okanye impawu zakhona azanele eziyeza suleleka uma kwenza ke lezo vivinyo zokudubula kanti ngase ngiyabona ke ukuthi umehluko mhlambe kungenzeka ukuthi ilokho okwasetshenziswa ke ukwakha leyo nhlamvu okanye ukukhiciza leyo nhlamvu imaterial yakhona ngenxa yalokho ke ngase ngiyachubeka ke mina ngithatha isinqumo sokuthi makuphinde ngenze ezinye ivivinyo phezulu kwematerial yona leyo efanayo yale ngxenye yokufakaza okuyinhlamvu.
Just before you respond, he said the reason why there could be insufficient individual characteristics marking that were transferred to this bullet by the firearm components. It could be because the test bullets and the test cartridges were of a weaker quality. In fact, he also referred to the complete military jacket. He also said that it could be because of the fact that they were of a weaker quality, meaning the ammunition that was used there was that one of a complete military jacket. And he then took a decision to use a stronger version of an ammunition, which was the full military jacket, which is as it glides through the barrel, is able to carry all the marks up until the end.
It's actually the opposite of what he said. And the fact of the matter is they asked that Colonel Mangena should stand down. Now they're cross-examining this witness on what Colonel Mangena said. We think it's unfair on this witness.
Mr. Mnisi, if he wants to explore that, that's why I say Warrant Officer Rudolph is an expert. If you use this...
No, I don't want to use
No, because then what reference point are you... That's why...
My Lord, can I just say something, if I may, if it is the court? I think that... I'm not done with my questioning, okay. Sir.
You don't want him to say something?
No.
No, just say what you want to say. How can a witness... a witness is here to assist the court also.
Yes, my Lord.
What do you want to say, sir?
I don't want to testify about Colonel Mangena's affidavit, but what I can say is the material, I think that the way that Colonel Mangena think is that because of the FMJ is a very thick and solid and hard copper jacket, and the CMJ is softer. So with the pressure behind the bullet and it expands in the barrel, you will find markings on the FMJ, but not as quality and as many as on the CMJ. Because the CMJ is softer, it picks up more markings in the barrel. And as the photo that I see on the monitor here showed, it was a CMJ bullet. So it would make sense for me to fire CMJ tests to get the same markings because it's the same thickness of the jacket and it's softer, so it will pick up better markings and quality markings than this FMJ that's a harder compound copper jacket. And that's what I can say about this, my Lord.
Uma sikhuluma nge-CMJ ne-FMJ, i-CMJ icishe ungazuthi yona ithambile uma kwenziwa ivivinyo ngazo, kanti-ke iyakwazi ukuthi ithathe impawu okanye igcoke impawu zokudubuleka kwesibhamu kakhulukazi kakhulu ukundlula i-FMJ ngoba yona-ke ayicinanga njenge-FMJ. Ngaleyo ndlela ke uma kusetshenziswa i-CMJ iyona ekwazi ukuphana ke ngemiphumela ebonakalayo kakhulu kundlula kakhulu lapha na kwi-FMJ.
Maybe that answers your question, sir. Maybe that might answer your question.
You say that maybe answer my question.
Yeah, the explanations that I just given. It might answer your question that you asked me. I don't know.
That is not my primary question. That is actually a secondary one. The primary one is coming. That is, in fact, Mr. Mangena just said the opposite of what we've just said. But let's go on. Now, you are telling this court that on the very same exhibits that you fired as test cartridges and test bullets, you were able to compare the scene exhibit from Alexander without having had to fire, without having had to fire another test bullet or some other test bullets in order to make such a comparison. Now, the primary question is, in your own opinion, or in your own view as an expert, if we are able to compare the scene exhibit from Alexander without having had to fire further test bullets with those that you fired on the 13th of February 2015. Why would the tests that were conducted by Mr. Mangena have to require a further firing of further bullets? A further firing of test and cartridge bullets?
My Lord, as I can refer to paragraph 6.1 of Colonel Mangena, he said an additional test of the same material as the exhibit bullet. Here we're talking only about the bullets. The hardness of the FMJ, the thick copper jacket and the lighter copper jacket, the thinner copper jacket, that's softer. We're not talking about the cartridge cases. In my Alexandra case, I examined the 5 test cartridge cases with cartridge cases that came from the scene in Alexandra, and that I could make positive.
Manje uma sikhuluma ke ngeqala lase Alexandra ukuthathenisa ubufakazi Alexandra ke kwaxoxeka ke ama cartridge cases aqhathaniswa ke nezingxenye zofakazi ezazikhona kanti ke uma sibheka lokho khulunywa ke ubamangena kwistatement sakhe lana usebenzise ke ama bullet ukuthi mhlambe usebenzise ama CMJ okanye FMJ kwasetshenziswa ke ama bullet lana ukuqhathanisa.
Sorry, but you...
So, we actually, my Lord, is just...
Okay. No, comment.
My Lord, actually we are talking just about the hardness of the different bullets, the CMJ and the FMJ. That's why the difference is, and that's why Colonel Mangena wanted to fire CMJs as well. Because of the bullet that came from the scene is a CMJ, and that makes sense to me to get the best markings on that one.
Fine. That's how I understood him. But the point is, you had 5 cartridges in the Alexander case.
That I made positive.
Yeah, No. The ones you found on the scene, they found on the scene. How many were they?
In the Alexandra case, there was 16 9mm parabellum caliber cartridges.
16?
Yeah, 16.
Yeah,
and I made positive.
And how many were positive?
I made 9 positive.
Out of the 16?
Yeah.
That were fired?
The other cartridge was not that firearm.
Yeah, but the point is, about 16 cartridges were fired there.
Yeah.
And when you were conducting your investigative tests, 9 were positive.
Yeah, when I opened that test again and compared it to that, that's why the cartridge cases is fine. I could compare it, but the bullets is the problem because of the hardness of the jackets.
Okay, fine,
And that's why Colonel Mangena also wanted to fire CMJs, so it's the same.
No, I'm talking about the question, how is it possible that Mangena would want to repeat the test? But the point is, you had 16 to work on, right? And Mangena had 2. And actually, if the truth be told, it's 1. Because the other one is, he said it was irreducibly damaged.
But still, my Lord, is just going over, about the hardness of the copper jacket, how it transfer marks from the barrel.
All right. Yes, sir.
Ngayisho lana ke ukuthi kwaba ke nama test awu 16 enziwayo kanti kulama test enziwayo awu 16 wase Alexandra kwaba ne9 ematchayo ngamanye amazwi yaba positive. Manje ke uma siza odabeni likaMangena uMangena yena ke uphinde wenza ezinye ivivinyo ngenxa yale material ngoba sesikhulumile ke ukuthi khona imaterial eqinile kanti khona le material engathi ke ithe ukuthamba iCMJ yona engathi ithambile kanti iFMJ ayithambile iqinile uma ke kwenzwa ivivinyo ngeFMJ iFMJ kunokwenza ukuthi ingaphanike ngeimpawu eyibonakalayo kanye eyigqamile ukundlula impawu engatholakala kusetshenziswa ke inhlamvu eyeCMJ ilokho ke engushoyo ukuthi uMangene waphinde wasebenzisa ke okanye wenza ezinye ivivinyo ezu2 kanti ke inhlamvu eyodwa ke kwaba inhlamvu eyayimoshakele okanye eyayonakele.
So, as an expert, my final point on this one, Mr. Mangena said exactly the opposite of what you just said now. He said he initially, the bullets, the test bullets that he had to, the test bullet and cartridges that he had to work on were of a weaker quality. Instead, he had to fire test bullets, or he had to fire ammunition of a stronger quality, the one which you yourself are saying you fired for the test purposes. I think that is just the gist of my question.
My Lord, if I can refer to paragraph 6.1 again, the last sentence there.
Yeah.
A decision to obtain additional tests for the same material as the exhibit bullet.
That's it.
And that's a CMJ, and that's why he fired CMJ bullets as well. Because on the FMJ we'll get markings, but not so good and not so many as on the CMJ. Because of the softness.
Mhlambe ngaze ngisho futhi ukhuluma khona lana ke kuyi sentence yokugcina kuyi statement sakamangena khona la ku paragraph 6.1 or sub paragraph 6.1 uthi ke additional tests kusho ukuthi ezinye ivivinyo kwamele ukuthi zenziwe kusetshenziswa wona lo material weyingxenye zobufakazi ezitholakele enkantolo ukuze ke kukwazi ukugcama. Ngamanye amazwi ke lokho akusebenzisile i-CMJ ngoba ingxenye zobufakazi yizo lezo ze-CMJ.
That is what Mr. Mangena said. But nonetheless, let's proceed.
I can't comment what he said, sir.
Yes.
Angeke ngikwazi ukuphawula ke ngalokho khulunywa uMangena ke.
Thank you, sir. Now, when forensic investigators attend to a scene of crime, they arrive at the scene, they do their own investigation, and they pick up exhibits at the scene. Now, how should I deal with those exhibits from that moment onward?
Usually, my Lord, according to my orders that I was given of crime scenes, you put out markings where this exhibit is lying. You make a sketch, you photograph the exhibits, but it's still LCRC's responsibility to collect that exhibit, pack it and send it to the lab. That's according to me. I don't know. That is how I would do it on a crime scene.
Uyabona ngenjwayelo ke ithimba lama forensic liyofika ke lapho endaweni yesigameko bese ke likwazi ke ukubeka ama marking okanye amaphawo la ama exhibits atholakala khona kanti ke baphinde futhi benze ne sketch kanti ke labo be LCRC bayokwazi ke ukuthi baxoxe lezo zinto ke bayifake ngaphakathi kwamasaka wobufakazi bese ke lezo ingcenye zofakazi ziyathathwa ziswa khona lapha laboratory ukuthi kuyokwenziwa ke ivivinyo ingendlela engazi ngakhona ukuthi bafike basebenza kanjani mafika endaweni yesigameko.
That's now how you know it's supposed to be done.
That's how I would do it, sir.
Ingendlela mina ebengenza ngakhona uma ngifika endaweni yesigameko.
Thank you. Now, a forensic expert is phoned. It's just a hypothetical situation again. A forensic expert from the Forensic Science Laboratory is phoned by some investigating officer who is involved in a particular case. Let's say it's arson or whatever. Now, that investigating officer says to the Forensic Science Laboratory, can you please go to a particular police station, go fetch and such an exhibit for analysis. how does that situation supposed to be dealt with?
I don't really know. I can't answer that, my lord. Never happened to me. But I suppose you can go and fetch it at the station because there's a register that you book it out in that seal bag, everything, and then you can bring it back to the lab, or you can otherwise ask the investigation officer to go and collect that firearm, bring it into the lab for re-examination. There's both two ways that you can do it. I don't know which is preferable because I have never done something like that.
Angaze ke mina ngiyenza into enjalo ke okhulunywa ngayo lana ke yokuthi mhlambe kukhona ke isigama ke senzakele kanti ke i-forensic expert yafonelwa khona ukuqhamuka khona laphana ku-forensic science laboratory fonela mhlambe uye lona ophenya icala ake sithi icala nje le-arson kanye ukushiswa kwesakhiwo uthi ke ukuze ke kube nengxenye zofakazi ezilandwayo khona laphayana mhlambe e-station samaphoyisa ke zithathwe ke lengxenye zofakazi ziswe khona laphana e-FSL uthi angazi kahle ke ukuthi basebenza kanjani khona lapho kodwa ke umuntu ngiyacabanga ukuthi angakwazi ukuthi aye police station afike athatheke lezo ingxenye zobufakazi okanye kucelwe yena u-IO ukuthi makalethe lezo ingxenye zobufakazi or ama-exhibits alethwe khona laphana e-laboratory ukuze kuyokwenzwa ke ivivinyo okanye uphenyo ngalezo ingxenye zobufakazi.
Thank you. Did I hear you correctly at the end of your statement that you don't know how these things are done because you have never done something like this?
I've never go collect a firearm from the SAP-13 for investigation.
Yes.
That never happened to me. I don't say it can't work like that, but I never done it.
Uthi mina ngaze ngikwenze lokho ngilande isibhamu ku SAP-13 ukuthi kuyokwenziwa ke ivivinyo phezukwaso abantu be-FSL azange yenzeke kimi leyo nto ke enjalo.
Thank you. Now, an exhibit that arrives at a forensic science laboratory, normally what is the process of receiving it?
Normally, when the IO investigating officer brings exhibit to the lab,
Yes.
it will be sealed in a seal bag.
Uma ke lo ophenya icala uletha ingxenye yobufakazi khona laphana e-FSL okanye kwi-lab ukuthi kuzokwenza ivivinyo leyo ngxenye yobufakazi itholakala ngaphakathi kwesikhwama okuyi-forensic bag.
Then there's a slip here at a paper slip that you fill in at the reception at the lab.
Kanti uma ufika khona ke e-lab kwi-reception kukhona ke islip okanye ipheshana nje ogcwalisayo.
That's been filled in. One piece will be torn off, give to the IO,
Yes.
and the other piece will go with the covering letter
Kanti ke
and the exhibit to when ballistic guys to fetch the firearms, they will bring that up to the admin section.
kanti ke ingxenye lelo phepha ihamba no-IO enye ihlala khona laphana enye izohamba nale lokhu njani lena i-forensic bag leyo kwi-administration section iyakhona khona laphayana forensic.
Then that lab number will be registered on the FSL system,
Yes.
Kanti ke leyo lab number izoregisterwa kwi-FSL
and the case file will be printed for that specific CAS number with the station name, the CAS number, and the lab number.
Yeah.
Is allocated to that thing, and then a covering letter with that received exhibit together with that will go to the safe with the firearm that is sealed in a sealed bag.
Yes.
kanti ke kuyoba ke kule case file leyo kube ne lab number kanti kube ne CAS number yaleso station ne covering letter ehamba nayo leyo ngxenye yobufakazi leyo ngxenye yobufakazi ke ingaphakathi kwebag esiliwe okanye ke isikhwama seyingxenye zobufakazi esivaliwe esiliwe.
I'd like if I just might say that I think nowadays it's worked different. Earlier days it was registered at ballistics at our section at the first floor, but I think when the firearms received now, it's always been registered at downstairs at the reception at the ground floor. So I'm not certain how that works, but the registration is not anymore just about ballistics, it's done
Yeah, quite.
at the ground floor of reception.
Thank you.
Phambilini ke uma ukurejistwa bekurejistwa khona laphana kwe first floor kwe ballistic section yethu. Kanti ke okwamanje ungazothi kwenzakala khona laphana kwe ground floor. Angazi kahle ke inqubo yakhona ukuthi injani kodwa sekenziwa khona laphana ground floor.
Yeah, that sleepy that you're referring to, it's called an acknowledgement of receipt of the items that have been brought in.
Leso slip engikhuluma ngaso kan lelo pheshana ke ngikhuluma ngalo kwakuyi singabiza i-acknowledgement of receipt kusho ke isiqinisekiso ke sokuthi kukhona okuthize okutholakele.
Thank you. Now, you say you are 39 years at the Forensic Science Laboratory.
Say again?
You're saying you are 32 years
That's correct.
at the Forensic Science Laboratory, ne?
That's correct, sir.
Thank you, sir.
32.
22.
Or 22?
Yeah.
Oh, but no, thank you, sir.
Uthi
Yes.
ngina 22 years ngikhona laphana Forensic Science Laboratory.
Now, in your experience, taking into account that massive number of years, receipt of items that are from outside into the Forensic Science Laboratory, are there any exception to the rule that they should first go through the process that you have just outlined now, or there's another way in which they can get into the Forensic Science Laboratory?
My lord, yeah, like if I can maybe take for instance Marikana case, the guy that worked on that received via command from the general and our brigadier. He said that they must bring in the firearms from the Marikana.
Yes.
With lists, and he will sign from it directly from the IO, take the firearms. So he didn't go through the whole process. He received it on the list, signed for it, and when he done it, the firing of the test and stuff, he handed it back like that. I think it worked like that, something like that. I'm not 100% sure, but there was a way that they did it without going through the whole, because the vast amount of firearms and stuff.
Yeah.
Manje uyabona uma ke sithatha mhlambe icase le yaseMarikana singasho ke ukuthi kuleyo case ke o brigadier wacela ukuthi makulethwe ke ilist emayelana ke nevivinyo ezokwenziwa mayelana nalezo ibhamu manje inqubo okanye indlela eyathathwa ayifani nalendlela mina esengikhulume ngayo phambilini uma ngiloko ngibuzwa imibuzo la kwavele nje kwathola ke leyo list kwenziwa ivivinyo yangalandele le yamigomo mina engikhulume ngayo manje ke ingendlela ke ngesinye isikhathi kusetshenzwa ngakhona.
Thank you, sir. I can understand. Marikana was a very massive case, I think, which is the reason why an exception to the rule was established. That is understandable. But in normal circumstances where there's and I don't want to be tricky with you, but in normal circumstances where there's the shooting of a person, you know, normally the procedure is firearm must go through the administrative section of the Forensic Science Laboratory before they can be dispatched.
That's correct, my lord, but there is instances where stuff can be done otherwise than the normal process. That's all I can say.
Yebo ngakuvuma lokho ukuthi ngendlela evamsekile okanye ejwayelekile isibhamu siyabhukwa kwi administration section ye forensic science or ye ballistics kanti ke ngiphinde futhi ngikusho lokho ukuthi kwezinye inkathi indlela okusetshenzwa ngakhona ihlukile akulandelwa leyo migomo yokuthi isibhamu siqale khona lapha yana kwi administration section.
Mr. Rulofs, again, without being tricky with you, I am suggesting to this court that the South African Forensic Science Laboratory, particularly the ballistics section, such an august institution of such a massive international recognition, does not follow a specific procedure with regard to receipt of exhibits that get into that institution, so people can do as they wish.
My Lord, I think that question to be fairly answered.
Yes.
To get someone that's the head of ballistic admin, asking that question, my Lord.
Okay.
Now we've
I
had,
think that's fair to ask me that
Yeah.
question, my Lord.
we've had evidence here. As I see it, it's expediency. Brigadier Gananda took Exhibit 2 from Mangena and said, don't place this firearm in the usual official internationally recognized storeroom. Bring it to me. I want to keep it for safekeeping. I mean, look, he took it to his home. So, Mr. Mnisi, they break the rules here. You've heard evidence of Gananda. He'll come.
Yes, ma'am.
Mangena says
Yes.
he gave this exhibit to Ginanda for safekeeping. Mchali,
Yes, madam.
who was the storekeeper there,
Yes.
he said, let's be honest, firearms do vanish in the stores.
Yes.
So there's balance. I've listened.
Yes, madam. Like this court has said, sir, that people break the rules,
Yeah. So,
that firearms vanish in the hands of the South African police services, that people can do as they wish with the forensic science laboratory, such an august institution which has got such a massive international recognition. Is this country still safe?
I think as long as there's a paper trail from where Mangena put it out, I think. Otherwise, that's how I suppose it would be done.
Yes.
There must be a paper trail. See, I signed for this firearm.
Yes.
And I took that firearm and I brought it to the court or whatever, or something like that. There must be a paper trail.
Yes.
Manje ngiyacabanga ukuthi kwamele ukuthi kube nala kulotshwe khona zonke inyathelo ke emayelana nezingxenye zobufakazi kubhalwe phansi. Ngasho ke ngithi lele lakithi livikelekile uma ngabe yinoma ubani osebenza ngezingxenye zobufakazi ubhala phansi ukuthi wenzani ngengxenye njena yobufakazi. Njengoba ke umbuzo kulo ukuthi uma ngabe ke ayikho ke inqubo okanye imigomo ethize bekwe phansi emayelana nokubanjwa kanye nokuhanjiswa kwezingxenye zobufakazi khona lapha ne-forensic science laboratory uthi mhlambe ke lona okuyisikhulu se-ballistic section uyena ke ongakhona ukuthi abizwe ngoba kusetshenziswa lo mzekelo okanye lokho okwakhulunywa uMangena ukuthi uMangena ke wanikeza ingxenye leyo yobufakazi kuGininda azange leyo ngxenye yobufakazi ifakwe kwi-storeroom i-SAP 13 yesiphoyisa. Manje ke nomtshali wakhuluma lokho ukuthi kusobala futhi kuyazeka ukuthi izibhamu ziyalahleka khona laphana okuthiwa ke ziqashwe amaphoyisa ziyalahleka esiphoyiseni lezo izibhamu. Manje ke thike isikhulu mhlambe singeza ke sizophendula.
Thank you, sir. I would have wanted to ask you the follow-up question on when firearms, I mean, not really firearms. I'm not speaking about firearms per se. I'm talking about exhibits from the forensic science laboratory. Now, when exhibits are, when somebody go fetch an exhibit from the forensic science laboratory, what process is being followed? But you've just said you are not in a position to attest to that. Probably somebody from the administrative section from the ballistic unit, from the section where you're coming from, could probably come and assist. I think it will therefore be unfair to me to keep on asking you about the processes and procedures.
What I can say is that I come to the ballistic section.
Yes.
He will bring a case forward what he does want to, and I will get the exhibit back for him. Then he must come and they identify him with his ID.
Yes.
And they will hand it via signature to that specific guy.
Yes.
And they are registered on the FEM system as well.
Yes.
So the details is on the system,
Yes.
and they will sign for that firearm,
Yes.
and then take it from there back to the stations SAP 13.
Yes.
Engakusho ke mhlambe lona ophethe
Sure.
IO uyafika khona laphana kwe-ballistic usebenzana ngengxenye ethile yobufakazi kanti kwi-ballistic bafaka leyo ngxenye yobufakazi ngaphakathi kwe-evidence bag kanti uzokhipha umazisi wakhe uyasayina khona lapho ke bese leyo ngxenye yobufakazi mhlambe ngathathwa ke isuke khona laphana police station.
Thank you, sir. Is the court talking?
No.
Okay. Because I heard maybe the court wanted to say something.
I'll say it, if I have to say it.
As it please the court, my lord. You know, sir, I want to be very frank and honest with you. The reason why I'm asking all these questions is because I wanted to get a bit of a background, but somebody from the ballistic science laboratory will come and attest to that. Thank you, sir. I've got no further questions to you. Yeah. Whether South Africa is safe or not with this process, I don't know.
Well, that's fine. I think it's fine.
No, just before you sit down, Mr. Mnisi, I know you said without getting into the merits. Yes. What should a court do when you elicit the evidence which you say without getting into the merits regarding the Alexander case, and you elicit from this witness that Exhibit 2, am I correct, sir? You examined Exhibit 2 in relation to the Alexander case. Are you with me?
I'm listening, my lord.
No, you can listen without understanding. The Alexander case, Exhibit 2, let's see Exhibit 2, just lift it there, Mr. Badoi, so that we are on the same street. Is that the case, I mean, the firearm which you examined in respect of the Alexander case, as you say, around about the 13th of February?
Yeah, the test 5 cartridge cases.
Hello? Yeah.
The test 5 cartridge cases, my lord.
That is the firearm which you say matched.
Yeah.
Positive.
Yeah, his test matched that 9 cartridges.
Right.
Out of the 16 on the Alexandra case.
That firearm, are you certain it is Exhibit 2?
My lord, I can say this is the firearm I exhibit. There's my handwriting with the engraver on the trigger guard, and I wrote on this box as well with my handwriting.
Yeah, because the evidence of Mangena.
And the seal bags, everything attested to what I've done.
I'll leave it at that, because Mangena's evidence is that that is the firearm which he tested in this case.
That's correct, my lord.
Okay, fine, you've heard me.
Ileyo ngxenye yofakazi exhibit 2 yisona ke isibhamuka ingxenye yofakazi engengenza ivivinyo kuyo kanti ngengabhala phezukwaso leso sibhamu ngaqhathanisa ke nama fired cases khona lapha kuleya case yase Alexandra kuma cartridge cases awu 16 kwamesheka ama cartridge cases awu 9 manje ke nginesiqiniseko ke sokuthi yisona isibhamu engisebenza phezukwaso lesi ebengenza ivivinyo kuso kune engraving ekhona la kukhona isandla sami esabhala phezulu lesi sibhamu futhi ke nama seal back number ayaqinisekisa ukuthi ngempela yiso lesi sibhamu engenza ivivinyo kuso.
I certainly don't have a problem with that, sir. That's not in dispute. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Yes, sir. Mr. Ngomano?
Warrant Officer, in terms of your affidavits, that is Exhibit 13D, you testified that you are stationed in the ballistic section of the Forensic Science Laboratory as a forensic analyst.
That's correct, my lord.
Forensic Science Laboratory.
Warrant Officer, is Lieutenant Colonel Mangena also stationed in the very same section of the ballistic
That's
unit?
correct, my lord.
No Mangena ube esebenzela lona lelo gatsha ke section yama ballistics.
So he's your colleague?
That's correct, my lord.
Ngisebenza kanye naye uyi colleague yami.
You also stated that on the 13th of February 2015, you received an exhibit, that is Exhibit 2, from the case administration of the ballistic section. Is that correct?
You're talking about paragraph 3?
Yes.
Yes, that's correct, my lord.
Yeah, kuyiqiniso ke ukuthi ngikushilo lokho ukuthi nge-13 zika February 2015 ngathola i-exhibit i-evidence back Uyiqiniso.
What is this case administration of the ballistic section? What is happening there?
That's the section that they receive when the exhibit is brought in down at the ground floor. Somebody from ballistics, when it's then registered, they will bring up all the ballistics related cases. Will go to case administration, where a docket will be printed and everything with the case number and the lab number and the station name, and that is linked with the exhibits, firearm exhibits of cartridge cases or bullets that's in a seal bag that's linked together with each other. And each of them get a sticker nowadays, and then you receive the docket with a barcode and an exhibit back, and that's handed to you then from case administration.
Kanti ke uma sikhuluma nge-case administration of the ballistic section, kulapho ke kuqoqwa zonke ingxenye zobufakazi ezimayelana ke namacala ke we-ballistics. I-case administration ibona ke abenza ke isiqiniseko sokuthi konke kuyahlangana, idocket liba khona, kuba nestika mhlambe ke esinikezwa ke leyo docket okanye lezo ingxenye zobufakazi, ama barcode kanjalo. Ibona ke abantu abaxoxa okanye abaqoqa obufakazi obuthize babenze kube ubufakazi obungakwazi ke ukuthi bukhulumisane ke necala elithize elilethwe khona laphayana we-ballistics.
So this case administration of the ballistic section registers cases that are received by the ballistic unit from January, February up to December of that particular year.
Yeah, they will do all the admin around all the cases, they will handle that.
Shuthi ke ibona ke ababhekene ne-admin okanye ukuxoxwa kwamaphepha nobufakazi ama cases we-ballistic. So ngabanye amazwi ke ithimba lele ballistic ibona ke abantu abaletha lawo macala khona laphana kwi-case administration bese ke ayaxoxeka ingxenye zobufakazi, amaphepha, ama-docket, zonke lezi zinto ukusuka ke ngoJanuwari kufika le ngoDisemba.
Warrant officer, what do you understand by the sealing of the evidence bag? The sealing of the evidence bag. What do you understand by that?
Well, I understand that is when you finish with an exhibit, you put it in a sealed bag.
Lokho engisisayo nge-seal bag, uma uqedile ke ngobufakazi okanye ingxenye zobufakazi ufaka ngaphakathi kuyi-seal bag.
And you take off that piece of yellow strip.
Yes.
Thatha ke le strip lesi ke esimpofu,
And then you paste that other blue part over the other part and it's sealed. So because nothing can be removed from that bag.
bese ke ubeka phezulu kwalokho ke okuluhlaza kwesibhakabhaka ukuze ke kubonakala ukuthi lokho sekuvaliwe futhi nokuthi kungabi nengxenye yobufakazi ethize ezolahleka uphuma kulelo sakana ke lobufakazi.
Usually what I will do, I can show the court.
Ngabonisa inkantolo ukuthi imvamisa mina ngenzani.
I will write the station, case number and the lab number.
Kanti ke ngizobhala phezulu i-station ngibhale i-case number ne-lab number.
And what I do, I also write the exhibits that's inside that bag that I sealed.
Bese okunye engikwenzayo ke ngibhala ke phansi uhlu lwakho konke okungaphakathi kwaleyo bag.
And then it's sealed with the firearm and exhibits inside, so it can't be tampered with.
Kanti ke bese ke ivaliwe ke isibhamu nezingxenye zobufakazi ezikhona kuleyo bag, angeke ke umuntu azame ukuyivula ke manjalo.
So, warrant officer, vice versa, it means that all exhibit bags that are received by the ballistic unit must be in a seal bag.
Yeah, usually it must be sealed in a seal bag, like the Marikana firearms, and there might be instances that things are brought into ballistics without being sealed. So
There are exceptions. Yes,
there's
I do
exceptions.
Yes,
There's
I do
exceptions.
understand that.
Yebo ke ingxenye zobufakazi zilethwa kwi-ballistics ukuthi zingaphakathi.
Exceptions, one of them is where,
No, fine. I'm just saying you're saying there are exceptions.
yes, I do, in line
Because
with
that's
what,
a statement.
no, in line with what you say.
Yes,
Marikana case,
It's this witness who's testifying.
yes,
And you're putting it to him that you understand that there are exceptions.
yes.
Fine.
uthi yebo ke ngenjalo senza kanjalo ingxenye zofakazi zifakwa phakathi kwesilbag or evidence bag kanti ke kukhona ke ezinye igameko la utholakala ke uthi akukhonakali ukuthi zonke ingxenye zofakazi zifakwe kuma evidence bag kakhulukazi ke uma sibheke lo mzekelo we case yase Marikana.
With your vast experience, warrant officer, and your knowledge in the ballistic section, can the ballistic section receive or accept an open bag, an open seal bag?
I don't think usually that will happen, or they will accept it. But what I found previous in my experience is sometimes big bags are heavy or being used with the heavy stuff inside. It does perforate at the bottom. But then as you receive that bag, you must make a discrepancy note on your SAP5 and tell that somebody else signed there and say, listen here, this bag was a little bit damaged or open there, and make that discrepancy on the SAP5 so that they know that bag was not completely intact when you received it.
Ngiyabona ke ama ingxenye zofaka mazilethwa khona lapha ku ballistic kufanele ukuthi zitholakale zingaphakathi kwe evidence bag engabhobokile ethi mawuyibheka kuyibag engazange kuzanywe ukuthi ivulwe kanti ke kunokwenzeka ke kwezinye izikhathi uthola ukuthi lokho okuqukethwe ileyo bag kuyasinda bese kuyabhoboza lapha yana bhoboza ibag lapha phansi uma ke leyo bag ifika kwi ballistic kwamele ke zonke lezi zinto ukubhoboka lokho mhlawumbe lo monakalo kuleyo bag izinto engafanele ukuthi zenzakale phezulu kwaleyo bag zibhalwe phansi khona kwi SAP5.
Yeah. But my Lord, if I might add, I think at the reception downstairs they will not accept a bag that's not sealed.
Yabona kwi reception ye ballistic abakwazi ukuthi bazothola ibag abakwazi ukuyithatha noma ukwamukela ibag evuliwe okanye elimele ngaphandle ukuthi ke kulandelwe lezi zinto aseyishilo phambili.
That's through the normal process. When I come hands it in there, then it must be sealed. Yeah.
Iyona ndlela ke eqondile okujala ukuthi kusetshenzwe ngayo ibag umilethwa lapha yana kwamele ukuthi kube ukuthi ibag esiliwe mayilethwa khona lapha.
On paragraph 10 of your exhibit, that is exhibit 13D, paragraph 10.1.
Yes.
You documented that it was on the 13th of February 2015, the exhibit mentioned in 3.1 to 3.3 were sealed in an evidence bag with number PA 400810-885 and handed over to the case administration of the ballistic section.
That's correct, my Lord.
Yebo kuyiqiniso ke ukuthi ngikushilo lokho ku subparagraph 10.1 ukuthi nge-13 zika February 2015 ingxenye zofakazi ekhulunywa ngazo ku subparagraph 3.1 kuya ku 3.3 bezisiliwe ngaphakathi ke kwesaka lobufakazi evidence bag eyayinenombolo leyo ke EPA 400810-885 kanti ke zase ke le ingxenye zofakazi zithulwa kanye zinikezwa case administration ye ballistic section.
Was that the last time or day that you saw this exhibit? Was it the last time?
That's correct.
Yebo
Until today.
Kwaba ukugcina kwami ke ukubona le ingxenye zofakazi ukufikela namhlanje ke.
On exhibit X13C, that is the affidavit of your colleague Lieutenant Colonel Mangena. He says at paragraph 7, on Monday, the 20th of July 2020, I received an open seal bag with number PA 400810-885, marked inter alia, Cleveland, Mass 96/02/15, and SAP 13/86/2015, containing the following exhibits. So that will be the exhibits that you conducted tests on the 13th of February 2015.
Uthi yebo ke le ingxenye zofakazi yizona engenza ivivinyo phezu kwazo nge-13 zikaFebruary 2015 njengoba ke kule affidavit kaMangena ethi ke yena nge-20 zikaJuly 2020 wase ke uthola isilbhek eyayivuliwe eyayine number leyo PA 40081085 eyayimakiwe ithi Cleveland Mass 96/02/15 ye SAP 1386 2015 iyayine ingxenye zobufakazi yizona ke lezi ingxenye zobufakazi engikhuluma ngazo ke
Sorry. Lieutenant Colonel Mangena says that in that paragraph he received the exhibit, but when he testified in court, he had been at the police station, that is Cleveland Police Station, where he received the exhibit from Warrant Officer Mjali. Do you understand,
Yeah.
Warrant Officer?
He went to fetch it. at
Yes,
the
he went to
station,
fetch, not that he received it, he went to fetch it from Cleveland Police Station.
What's the difference? Now that he received it, he went to fetch it. Because in my view, yes, Mr. Mnisi and Mr. Ra, in my view, what's critical is the exhibits. The exhibits which you sealed on the 30th.
Yeah.
Sorry,
The 13th.
on the 13th of February 2015, right? Today is the 1st of September 2023. Are they the same exhibits that you sealed?
Yeah, it's the same firearm.
That's it.
It's the same firearm.
Same
my
firearm.
lord.
And then the blue case, you actually wrote on it in February 2015.
It's the blue case, yeah, it's the
As the
same
seller
blue
unit.
case.
So that hiatus of that missing time, which would have accorded an unscrupulous person to switch the firearms. Is it the same firearm which you sealed?
Yeah, according to me, the one that I
Same
marked with the
firearm
lab number,
in 2015.
according to me, my lord, yeah.
And today is the 1st of September 2023. Is still the same firearm.
According to me, my lord.
That's it. Okay, fine. You can go on.
That was not my line of thought.
No, it's my line. I want to
Sase yiso
understand.
lesa
this business. I want to understand.
kusase yiso lesa sibhamu engenza ivivinyo kanye engasimaka nge 13 zika February 2015 namhlanje i1 zika September 2023 leso sibhamu kusase yiso kanti ke naleli bhokisi kusase yilo futhi yimina obhalele leli bhokisi kusase yilo.
Warrant Officer will concede that the lieutenant, that is Lieutenant Colonel Mangena, did not follow the procedure of registering the exhibit in the case administration of the ballistic unit.
I cannot testify about that, my lord.
No, from what
It's
I
his doing, I'm not my doing.
Manje angeke ngikwazi ke ukufakazela lokho kwenziwa nguye lokho akusiyimina ukuthi akalandelanga inqubo yoku register khona lapha na ke kwi case administration ye ballistic.
All right. Warrant Officer, when you receive the exhibit, that is before you conduct tests, what do you do to the exhibit?
So just say,
When you receive the exhibit, before you conduct tests, what do you do to the exhibit? You take it out from the exhibit bag.
yeah, you see that everything corresponds on the back and the covering letter, sign cast and station, and then you will open it, see if the back is sealed, you open it, and you'll do your investigation on the exhibits that's in the silver.
Yilokho engikwenzayo ke ngiyavula leyo bheki bese ngiyabheka ke ukuthi konke okubhalwe kwi covering letter kuyahambelana nalokho okucukethwe yileyo bheki. I-case number, i-lab number, kanjalo zonke izinto ziyahambelana ne-evidence seal bag number konke kuyahambelana.
Okay. But before you remove the exhibit from the seal bag, do you take photographs of the exhibit? No.
No.
Ngokuba ke ngizoyikhipha lezo ngcenye zofakazi angithathi ithombe cha angiyithathi ithombe.
Is it also correct, Warrant Officer, that you also, in your report, have to document all the exhibits that you have received.
That's correct.
Yebo, kwamele ukuthi ngifile wonke ama-exhibit engiwatholile.
Let us say, Warrant Officer, the exhibit, that is the bullet head, is kept in an envelope inside the seal bag. Do you have to also document that you have received the bullet projectile in an envelope inside the seal bag when you are compiling your report?
Yeah, usually when that envelope is marked something,
Yes.
then you have to, you can keep it in your docket. It's not necessary to mention it in your affidavit. As long as you've got the right seal bag and the seal bag number, you mention that. But you can keep that envelope or if it's marked.
Asikho isidingo kangako ukuthi uma ngabe ngithola ingxenye yobufakazi engaphakathi kwe-envelope mhlawumbe ebrown, asikho isidingo sokuthi uma ngibhala ke i-report yami ngisho ukuthi kukhona ke ingxenye yobufakazi eyatholakala ingaphakathi kwe-envelope. Indaba nje ukuthi leyo ngxenye yobufakazi uma kuyingxenye yedocket yakho lokho kwanele.
What would be sort of markings you are referring to, if it is marked? What
Like
do you mean?
Exhibit A, there's a A or B or a 1 or 2, whatever they might they mark that exhibit, specific exhibit.
Okunye akushilo ke ukuthi uma leyo envelope imakiwe leyo marking engikhuluma ngayo ngisho mhlambe ithi exhibit A B noma ke eyipi ilokho njani ezosetshenziswa lapho ke ukumarka leyo ngxenye yobufakazi engaphakathi kwaleyo envelope.
My Lord, I'll seek for indulgence. I see it's 1300 hours. I'll propose that you take a long adjournment.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Malloy? Are you still available after 1 o'clock? Yes.
Yes, my lord.
Okay, 2 o'clock then.
All right.